Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just quickly, you've given the recommendations. We're starting to see movement. We're starting to see talk. We're hearing the chancellor say, okay, we're going to follow suit. But for all of us up here, we have to actually write the policy to hold their feet to the fire. With the tools that we have in front of us, what are some suggestions that you see as best tools that we could use to make sure that they do follow the recommendations?
Well, the legislature has the power to appropriate funds to the CSU, and to the extent that you don't feel like they're making adequate progress in implementing our recommendations, that's an opportunity for you to hold budget hearings or hold additional oversight hearings, or to withhold or reduce the amount of appropriation that you provide to the CSU system each year. And also, I would say that if I was a member and I was hearing the university say we can't afford it, I would be asking some questions about, well, why do you think that is, especially given the reserves that you have. So I think there's a variety of tools that you have, but primarily it's the funding, it's the budget that goes to CSU, and that's your primary lever.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And for brevity, I'll keep it short, and I want to kind of tie into what Chair Ramos had said with really making sure that that voice is at the draft level. But I want you to understand, when you're talking about tribes, you're talking about sovereign nations. And I'm a military guy, so I think about when we got to go get our remains of our soldiers overseas, how that's handled and the importance of how that's handled. In that when we do these things, you don't ask the foreign country, hey, handle our remains the way you want to. It's done the way we want them to handle it. So as these policies are being drafted, that voice of those sovereign nations, because the anthropology department might be great, it might be the best one ever, but the way they do it may not be completely the way the tribe wants it done. And it's not about doing it the way the anthropology department wants it done. It's about doing it the way the tribe wants it done. When we think about burials and think modern age, right? Some people want to be buried in a casket. Some people want to be cremated. These are very sensitive things. And it needs to make sure that, to the point, at that drafting level, at the fabric of this policy, it's taken in there. Not you all go and do the policy and then come back and say, hey, what do you think? It's got to be from the beginning of this new step forward of this change that's got to take place.
May I comment on that issue? I'd like to just, for the record, indicate that in my former role as provost for the California State University, I had regular and very helpful conversations with Provost Michael Brown at the University of California. And he helped guide and mentor me, and as well as the law itself, in understanding how to respond to some of the feedback and the needs for improvement. And so what we have as our draft policy reflects very closely the University of California repatriation policy. But we cannot rely on their consultation. We have to engage our own authentic consultation. And so that's where we sort of found ourselves needing to establish this system-wide governance committee to really bring to that group something that's been well vetted but needs to be completed.
But you're talking about a system-wide internally with you. Yeah. And in order to get that correct, you have to have that tribal voice as part of that.
I concur.
Not separate. Thank you, Chairman and chairs. Thank you for taking the time. And you know, we've heard, we've discussed, we've made some comments. It's been a long morning, but this has been a long time coming. And I think Chairman Potter, when you spoke about the souls of ancestors sitting in boxes, I don't think that too many who don't understand tribes realize that, because the cultural difference. To them, it's bones and boxes. It's not a soul of an ancestor that wants to go home. And it's vital that, again, as we build these policies as policymakers, that as we put together that fabric of sewing that together, that viewpoint is added there at the beginning. So I want to thank you for sharing that. Thank you all for coming to share your stories, your family stories, because it's through these that those that don't know that they don't know have the ability to learn.